The village of Amani nestled at the foot of Mount Elgon. It was a place of laughter and life. The year was 1974. A young girl named Ayo, with eyes as bright as the morning sun, lived there. She was the heart of her family. Her laughter echoed through the fields of maize. Ayo's world was filled with warmth. The sun was a comforting presence. The air was alive with the scent of the earth. Her grandmother, a woman of stories and wisdom, taught her the ways of their ancestors. Ayo's life was a song, sung in harmony with nature's rhythm. The rains failed that year. The skies, once a vibrant blue, turned to a hazy gray. The earth, once fertile and giving, began to crack and thirst. The crops withered in the fields. The once abundant river dwindled to a trickle. Despair cast a shadow over Amani. Ayo's family, once full of life, began to weaken. Her father, once strong and proud, grew gaunt and weary. Her mother, her eyes reflecting the fear in their hearts, tried to shield Ayo from the harsh reality. But Ayo saw it all. She felt the hunger gnawing at her own belly. She witnessed the silent suffering in her family's eyes. Death visited Amani. It took Ayo's parents, leaving her orphaned and alone. The villagers, their hearts hardened by fear and desperation, saw her as a curse. They blamed her for the drought. They cast her out, a scapegoat for their misfortune. With tears streaming down her face, Ayo walked away. The whispers of the villagers followed her, branding her as a harbinger of ill fortune. She had no destination, only the instinct to survive. She walked for days, the sun beating down on her. The wilderness became her only companion. The wilderness was a harsh teacher. It tested Ayo's endurance and spirit, pushing her to the limits of her strength. Every step she took was a lesson in survival, every breath a reminder of the untamed beauty and danger that surrounded her. But it was also a source of unexpected solace. In the quiet moments, when the sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, Ayo found peace. The forest, with its myriad sounds and sights, became a sanctuary where she could reflect and gather her thoughts. As Ayo journeyed, she began to notice the whispers of the wind in the trees. These whispers were not just the rustling of leaves, but seemed to carry messages, ancient and profound, guiding her on her path. She saw the patterns of the stars in the night sky. Each constellation told a story, each star a beacon of hope. The night sky became her map, guiding her through the darkness and reminding her of the vastness of the universe. The spirits of her ancestors, long forgotten by the villagers, reached out to her. In the misty mornings and the quiet evenings, she felt their presence, their wisdom flowing into her, giving her strength and courage. In the depths of her solitude, Ayo encountered a wizened old woman. This woman, with her tribal markings and deep knowing eyes, seemed to embody the very essence of the forest. The woman, her face etched with ancient wisdom, lived in a cave adorned with paintings that spoke of a time when humans and nature lived in harmony. These paintings were not just art, but a chronicle of a forgotten era, a testament to the bond between man and nature. She became Ayo's guide, teaching her the forgotten language of the earth, the subtle signs and symbols that spoke of the land's secrets. Through her teachings, Ayo learned to listen, to truly hear the voice of the world around her, the secrets of the spirits, the rituals that connected the living with the ethereal. These practices, passed down through generations, became a bridge for Ayo, linking her to her heritage and the spiritual realm, and the true meaning of resilience. Ayo discovered that resilience was not just about physical strength, but also about inner fortitude, the ability to adapt, to endure, and to thrive despite the odds. This journey, with all its challenges and revelations, transformed Ayo, making her a beacon of hope and strength for her people. Section 5. The Language of Rain. Under the old woman's tutelage, Ayo blossomed. She learned to read the language of the birds, the whispers of the wind, and the stories written in the clouds. She discovered that the earth was not a silent, passive entity, but a living, breathing being with its own voice. Most importantly, Ayo learned the language of rain, She learned the ancient songs and rituals that could coax the clouds to gather and the skies to weep. She discovered that true power lay not in dominance, but in understanding, respect, and harmony with nature. After a year of solitude and learning, Ao felt a pull in her heart. It was a subtle yet persistent tug, a whisper that grew louder with each passing day. She had spent countless hours meditating by the river, seeking answers in the rustling leaves and the flowing water. The forest had become her sanctuary, a place where she could connect with the deeper truths of life. But now, something was calling her back. It was a longing for her home, for the familiar sights and sounds of Amani, even though they had rejected her. She missed the vibrant marketplace, the laughter of children playing in the streets, and the warmth of the community gatherings. Despite the pain of her past, Ao's heart ached for the place she once called home. She knew she had to return, to share the wisdom she had gained, to try and heal the land and the people she had left behind. Her journey had transformed her, and she believed that her newfound knowledge could make a difference. With each step she took on the dirt path, her resolve grew stronger. She was determined to face whatever awaited her in Amani. As Ao stood at the edge of Amani, she was a stranger. The village she once knew seemed distant and unfamiliar. She could see the changes, the signs of struggle and hardship. The people who had once been her friends and neighbors now looked at her with suspicion and curiosity. She felt a pang of sadness, but also a glimmer of hope. The village, ravaged by the ongoing drought, was a shadow of its former self. The once lush fields were now barren, and the rivers that once flowed freely were reduced to trickles. The drought had taken a heavy toll on the land and its people, leaving behind a trail of despair and desolation. The laughter of children had been replaced by the silence of despair. The streets that were once filled with the sounds of joy and life were now eerily quiet. The playgrounds where children used to play were deserted, and the air was thick with a sense of loss and hopelessness. The once bright mud huts were now cracked and crumbling, mirroring the state of the villagers' hearts. The vibrant colors that once adorned the walls had faded, and the structures themselves seemed to sag under the weight of the suffering they had witnessed. Ao knew that healing would not be easy, but she was ready to try. The villagers recognized Ao, but their eyes were filled with suspicion and fear. They remembered the girl they had cast out, the girl they blamed for their misfortune. They saw her return as a bad omen, a sign that their suffering was far from over. "She has returned," they muttered amongst themselves. "The drought-bringer has come back to curse us further." Their fear was palpable, a suffocating presence that threatened to extinguish the flicker of hope that Ao carried within her heart. Ignoring their hostile stares, Ao walked to the center of the village, the heart of the once vibrant community. She closed her eyes and began to sing. It was not a song of sorrow or despair, but a song of hope, a song of resilience, a song of rain. The song flowed from her lips, carrying the ancient rhythms and melodies learned from the spirits of the land. It was a song that spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, of the delicate balance between humanity and nature. As Ao sang, the villagers felt a shift within themselves. The wind picked up, swirling around Ao. It was as if nature itself was whispering secrets to her, secrets carried from distant lands and ancient times. The breeze tugged at her clothes, playfully lifting her hair, and she felt a connection to the world around her that was both profound and mysterious. The sky, which had been a relentless blue for as long as they could remember, darkened. It was a transformation that seemed almost magical, as if the heavens were responding to an unspoken plea. The villagers had grown accustomed to the unyielding sun, its harsh rays beating down day after day, but now change was in the air. Clouds gathered, heavy with the promise of rain. They loomed overhead, dark and foreboding, yet filled with the potential for renewal. Each villager looked up, their hearts filled with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. The air was thick with the scent of impending rain, a smell that was both familiar and long forgotten. As the first drops fell, a collective gasp arose from the villagers. It was a sound that echoed through the village, a sound that spoke of dreams rekindled and fears dispelled. The raindrops were cool against their skin, a stark contrast to the heat they had endured for so long. Each drop was a promise, a whisper of hope. It was the sound of hope reborn. Faces that had been etched with worry and fatigue now lit up with joy. Laughter, tentative at first, began to ripple through the crowd. Children danced in the puddles, their giggles a symphony of pure delight. The rain was more than just water. It was life. It was renewal. It was a new beginning. The rain fell throughout the night, washing away the dust and despair that had settled upon Amani. It was a relentless downpour, each drop a cleansing force that swept through the village, leaving behind a sense of purity and renewal. The sound of the rain was a lullaby, soothing the weary souls of the villagers as they slept. It was a baptism, a cleansing, a new beginning. The rainwater mingled with the earth, creating a rich, fertile ground that promised new life. The villagers awoke to a world transformed, a world where the air was fresh and the ground was soft beneath their feet. It was as if the village itself had been reborn. As the sun rose, painting the sky with hues of hope, the villagers saw Aya with new eyes. She stood at the heart of the village, her presence a beacon of resilience and strength. The light of the new day bathed her in a golden glow, and in that moment, she seemed almost otherworldly, a guardian of their newfound hope. They saw not a harbinger of drought, but a bringer of rain, a symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring spirit of their land. The villagers gathered around her, their hearts filled with gratitude and admiration. They celebrated not just the rain, but the strength and courage that Ao embodied. She was a living testament to the power of hope and the human spirit. Io, the girl who spoke to rain, had brought redemption to Amani, proving that even in the face of adversity, hope can bloom again, nurtured by the indomitable spirit of the human heart. Her story would be told for generations, a reminder that no matter how dark the days may seem, there is always the promise of a new beginning on the horizon.